Wake up, bud. Wake up.
How did this happen, ladies and gentlemen? I fell asleep. My voice is cracking and almost gone, and all of a sudden I have headphones on, and we're here for another episode of the Going Over podcast. It is I, your neighborhood friendly coach, trainer, promoter, 43-year-old professional wrestler, Zack, primetime Reeb, and I'm joined alongside my podcast partner, as always, the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. Paul, we have made it to day 3, and I now know I am no longer 25 to 30 years old.
Oh man, it's a very quick reminder that uh yeah, man, reminisce about the times that you'd go out drinking, right? You'd get in at 4 a.m. You'd have to be up at 6 to go to work or to do whatever, and you're just raring to go. I remember the days uh, playing basketball in college, man, out all night drinking, up early for basketball practice, and just like full of energy somehow. And I don't know how we used to do that, but it is a good reminder that we're getting up in years, and that's not the way that it works anymore. I feel like I I went to bed at a decent hour and got up to do this, but I'm looking at myself and I'm like, you know, puffy eyes and rubbing the sleep out and what are we doing, But but I made a comment like, you look like I feel right now, because I just feel like I'm all over the place. We were in a car for 10 hours a couple days ago, and then we're gonna do it again today, driving back home. So, but it's just the things that we do to because we love pro wrestling. It's like we're just gonna make things happen, and we're gonna go where we need, and uh, and we're today. You've got the living the dream, man. It's just uh, another opportunity. We talk about, like, I was just thinking about it last night, how 3 weeks from now we've got the answer the call, very similar contest that you're going to do today, in your neck of the woods, and you're just like, what an opportunity it would be to earn free training. Go to a reputable school and get an opportunity to train for free for an entire year, and the things that you would do to have that opportunity, like uh you think about, and I don't know, man, it's like, and I feel like this goes back to the things that I've said before about for some reason, when something is free, somehow people don't value it. And it's like, you think about, like, if you were earning free wrestling training, like, would you be there every single opportunity that you'd get for an entire year? And I think for me, the answer is yes, I would. I would absolutely do that. It's like, oh,
Yes.
yes, exactly. So, um, but that's not the way that it's been, man. We've had people that have won free training, and you're gonna think this is a complete a line of bullshit, but we had a guy that won free training and showed up twice in the entire year. It was like, what are you doing? Like, you came and you paid for an opportunity to earn free training, and you pay a fraction of you pay this much of what it would cost to train for an entire year, and then you just don't show up, and I don't understand how that happens. I understand life and things like that, but it's like, I get this feeling that people think we're wrestling on a mattress, and the ropes are rubber bands, and nothing's gonna hurt and it's gonna be easy, and I saw it on TV, looks fun. All these you hear all these people describe what pro wrestling is to them, and then when they get in there and they start taking bumps and start hitting the ropes and stuff like that, they go, "Shit, man, this is way harder than I thought it was." And but to not take advantage of an opportunity like this just blows my mind. So I'm thinking good thoughts for you for today. That you have 50 people show up and work hard, and you have people that are ready to pay for training if they don't win it. Hopefully that's
nice,
what happens.
Right? That'd be nice. But the odds of that happening are very rare. And I don't know if it's where we're located and what goes on. And the next time we do this podcast, I'll be sitting here and we'll be talking and we'll say, hey, this is what happened. This is not what happened. But if you win something, you don't value it. So this thing that we do in a wrestling school, we're trying to bring awareness and attention. We're trying to get people to come out and say, "Oh, hey, maybe I can check this out." We're trying to build the future of pro wrestling, and I think any wrestling company has to be trying to build the future of pro wrestling with what they do. When I look back at the winners of this contest previously over the last 10, 12 years, a lot of guys, like you said, don't even come back for the next practice. And everybody is full of excuses. I have an entire phone of messenger and text messages full of excuses. Well, you know what excuse I didn't make last night? I went to the Blind Onion and I ate my pizza. And there's no excuses for what I just did in that restroom before I got on this podcast. Because what I ate at that Blind Onion, I left just 2.5 hours later in the bottom of the porcelain powerhouse. And it's sitting in there. And I sent it down with that air freshener. And that is just a reminder of what happens when you open up these doors to a potential wrestling school. You open up these doors with all this hope and this amazing taste. And you love what you see at first. And then just a few weeks later, you have to go back to what we always talk about, that dedication and that discipline. Because when you make these flyers, when you set up these events, when you start new classes, you are running on motivation and you are running on desire and hope and passion. And that passion mixed with discipline is what keeps you going a couple months later. Because when you look around, and I don't know how many times I've looked around and everyone has been like, man, this kid's got it. This kid's going to be a big star one day. And it's like, well, he could have been. He could have been. Because everybody in this world's got some talent, right? Everybody has some type of talent. And if you don't show up and you don't put in the work, the talent don't even fucking matter, man. It don't even matter. And it was like, what's going to be cool about this one is I got Rick down here, and Rick's going to be here for this. And I remember us starting. God, 26 years ago, and we're out here on the farm and the dirt road with the hills and the potholes, and it's outside and it's on the old basketball court, and there's no phone reception, so you don't got to worry about kids being distracted by that. And everybody is using MapQuest, and they're heading to this little country town of Loma Rica, California, a mile and a half down this road that splits off into two corners, and we're on the corner house right there. You can't miss it. And people are coming out on a dirt road in the country with no reception for hours to be a professional wrestler. And it was crazy last night because that was the culmination down at your show. Me and Rick had been wrestling for, God, 26 years, and he'd always been the bad guy and I'd always been the good guy. And here we are 26 years later, and we're out there in the ring, and I'm the villain and he's the good guy. And we get out in the ring, and brother, I got a little bump happy. I got a little bump happy.
I was gonna say I saw some video after the fact, and I just think about how many times you talk about, like, you know, you're getting too old to do a frog splash and stuff like that, and then I'm like, I see super kick, and I'm like, he's not covering him. What's he gonna do? And then I see, like, oh, he's going up to the top. What's going on here? It's like, 43-year-old Zack Reeb here. He's looks like he potentially is gonna go to the high rent district here and take a chance. You know, so
Two times in 2 days, and I sat in both locker rooms, and there was no mention of the frog splash in both locker rooms. And when I hit that super kick, I immediately knew in my head I'm going up. You know what I mean? We're going up, and we're gonna do it. And that's just the thing, man. You just said it right there. 43 years of age. What am I gonna do? There was a point where he went to the top rope, and I got up because it was a line, and I told him to line me out. So I kind of fed up to the rope, and then he went to the top rope, and I was over there. So I was like, oh, I gotta sail over here. So I ran and crotched him on the top rope, and then I'm going up to the top, and he goes, and he tells me, he goes, the heel's gonna try to superplex the he's telling me this. The heel's gonna try to superplex the baby face. And like in my head, I'm like, oh, we're gonna put in some work up here on this rope. And he immediately goes to headbutt me, and I'm grabbing onto him, and I'm like, no,
right.
we're gonna fight up here for a minute, right? And it just felt like he didn't want no part of fighting on that top rope, and he wanted no part of what I was trying to do up there on that top rope. There was a point where I came off the middle rope, and I was gonna do I was bringing back the old Bret Hart elbow, right? And I am fully committed to this, brother. Fully committed. I mean, I'm jumping, I'm going for it. And I didn't realize that he had no intention of laying there and letting me hit the big jumping Bret Hart elbow from the middle rope. But I am fully committed to this. So at the last second, he moves, and and there's no feet down, there's no nothing. Like, I'm coming in hard from that middle rope, and I just right on both knees just crash into the ground. I'm coming for the elbow. He moved at the last second. And then if you watch some of that, he goes back and hits me with one.
Right.
So guess who stayed there for him? So his poor knees were not in a bad situation when we left either. But that's the thing, man. You get out there with someone you trust, right?
Right.
Like, that was the first time. We could have done it the other way, and it would have just been easy money all the way through. But then you flip something that you guys are so used to, and we didn't talk about nothing, right? We didn't talk about nothing. And then you get in the locker room with your buddy and on these road trips, and you don't get to do this a lot or spend as much time as I'm getting to spend with him. And now we're joking around in the locker room. I'm like, could you imagine in the ring being like, tackle, drop down, suck my dick? And then the guy goes, what? Suck my dick? And then you lean back in and you go, that's what you heard? You didn't hear the tackle drop down? You know what I mean? We're making jokes with people. We were talking about, like, wouldn't that be classic if, like, when we were done, right at the end, if we went to a show and we had our bags already packed and we knew this was going to be the last time we were performing somewhere else, and we went up to the guys in the main event and we were like, hey man, you know, what are you guys doing for a finish? And they tell us their finish in the main event, and then we go out there in match one and do the exact same finish. And then instead of coming into the locker room, we get in our cars and go out the side door and just take off. Don't even worry about the payout. And we were talking also about, wouldn't that be funny if we looked around the card on the locker room and we were match one, and we literally went out there back and forth and did everybody's finishing move in the very first match. So it's, you know, you get in those situations and you get around the right people, and it's just been fun. Like, I'm tired, but it's been 2 days and we've logged so many miles and loaded so many rings, and you're just sitting here like, oh my God. But on a bright note, coming off of that show, I learned a lot from Friday, which is what I love about professional wrestling. It's the most beautiful thing in the world because it's the only thing I've ever done that I continually keep learning. And talk about that to me right now is like, what is it about professional wrestling to tell these young guys, what is it about this that keeps you going at your age, running a promotion, running the school, and why do you keep going, Paul?
Well, I think for me, I mean, it's obviously it's been a passion. It's something that I've watched and I've enjoyed for since the 80s, right? Watching Hulk Hogan. So for me, it's like, you see all the different possibilities of what can happen. And we had a way that we saw pro wrestling when we first started watching it, and the reason that we got hooked, right? And it was like what drew us in was, as much as people would, like, I remember people telling me, well, that's fake, right? And I could not admit at any point that I believe that it wasn't completely real, right? So I think it's the pursuit of that. How can we make this thing that uh, you know is widely known as choreographed or predetermined or whatever? How can we, as pro wrestling trainers and pro wrestlers, how can we continue to suspend the disbelief? Like it's the constant pursuit of that, right? As much as people want to discredit you and things like that about pro wrestling, it's always been, for me, it's always been the pursuit of how can I go out there as a performer and make these people forget about their problems and what's going on in life and just get lost in the action for a couple hours, right? And it's trying to pass that on to all of the students as well. How can I help them get to that point where they can um, do that same thing, right? Like that's our goal, is how can we go out there and how can we have these fans get lost in it for a couple hours, and uh, and I love it when it happens to me as well, right? As a somebody that, you look at yourself as an insider, and you take pride in the fact that, I can see when people are working versus when they're shooting on each other and things like that. And I always love it when when you get lost as well, right? So if I'm watching and somebody, all of a sudden I go, well, shit, man, these guys look like they don't like each other, or hey, that looked a little stiff, or what's going on? These guys are, you know, these guys are turning this from a performance into, it looks like they're really fighting, right? So when someone can do that to me when I'm looking at it from a fan's perspective, then I know, like, the business is in good hands when those type of things are happening, and when you see that stuff, guys being able to do that. So I think it's that constant pursuit of that, getting the fans to feel like that, where you think like, it's believable for this amount of time. And I just remember, Luster making that comment, like, I can't make fans believe that pro wrestling is real, but I can make them believe that I'm real, right? So, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my parts to, as a performer, make them think that what I'm doing out there is real, right? you love the comments when people say, um, the rest of the stuff looked phony, but when you were out there, it looked like you guys were in a real fight. So, for me, I think that's what it is, man. It's like, I have this perception of pro wrestling that I want to pass on to other people, and so when you're running a school, that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to go, how can I make this look as realistic as possible? Keep people safe. And go out there and have a good time. I mean, and I think a lot of it is, you think about, people say, pro wrestling, it's you're killing your body out there. But, and I've talked about it before, I'm getting ready to go on a 10-hour car ride today. And it's the travel, man. That the travel is what just beats up your body. It's supposed, especially, with my size and things like that. Like, being cooped up in a car, and I can imagine, how Bad News feels while he's, in a long car ride, so.
Well, Bad News just got a brand new 2025 Nissan Pathfinder 8-seater, and boy, that thing had the works yesterday. I actually, my knees and everything feel great. I had my own little air conditioner that I could control. I had my phone charger. When Sergio wasn't being a complete dick, I moved the seat up a little bit and give me a little room for my knees, and if he doesn't, it's like play with his little comb over hair, all that good stuff. But I mean, that's the thing that reminds me of it last night is, as we're sitting there, is a lot of people are coming back and they're going, because it said the weather was 65 degrees, right? Well, now weather was a liar yesterday. It was clearly over 90 degrees. And these guys don't realize that thick air, you know what I mean? That thick or that thin air, whatever it is, when you're up there breathing. And I came back and some people were like, I always want my feedback, right? From whoever. Oh, you watch? Because I watch. And they say, oh, it was good. It was good. And then they go, there were times it looked like, it slowed down a little bit. Like maybe you guys were a little tired or something. And I'm like, well, because we fucking were.
Right.
Yeah. Not just because we're old. We're fucking tired. We're out there. We didn't really stop. You know what I mean? There was a point where he is the good guy, settled down on me and put on that chin lock. And I was sitting in it and I'm like, well, I'm supposed to be the bad guy. So there was a second of settle because everything else was just selling and moving. We never really stopped for like 13 minutes. And I remember when he had me in that, I like called the ref over. Now I got to call him Gene Eric. I called Gene over and I was telling him like he was under the throat over here. So as he came around, I raked his eyes over here and he didn't see it. And then Rick started selling the eyes and he goes, yeah, there was a point too where Rick was on me and I was really selling the jabs. He had given me 10 turnbuckles. We were really working. And I reached up to put my fingers in his eyes and I pulled him away from the ref. So the ref's over here and I'm digging in his eyes and visually by the time the ref comes around, I move from my fingers to my forearm right here. And now I start doing this and the ref comes around and says, stay out of his eyes. And I'm showing him the time right here, old time, because it was that easy for me. It was that easy in front of the referee to cheat. It was that easy to lure him over or to just simply turn. I had 3 seconds of digging in his eyes before the ref realized what I had done to come around, and I just slid half an inch over here and changed it to like I was rubbing my forearm in his eyes. And the fans knew what I did. Okay, so let's not be lazy. And I saw a lot of guys yesterday come back, and guys I didn't even ever think I would see this, where a lot of them ran out of that door and almost puked or did puke, right? And you come back and some guys go, they're disappointed in their performance. And I always say, like, if a guy runs outside and starts projectile vomiting or puking, they didn't have a good match. There's no way. I remember back in the day when Ryan McQueen, when he was in really good shape in APW, we wrestled for 13 minutes, and I knew he had blown up in the ring, and he's younger and in way better shape, and I'm over here smoking cigarettes, and I go looking for him after the match, and he's behind the garbage can puking, and this 21-year-old gymnast athlete looks up at me and sees me smoking a cigarette after our match and goes, "How are you smoking that cigarette?" And I said, "You got to breathe, baby." So the advice I gave yesterday to a couple guys was, I said, sometimes you have to give up speed, and you got to give up the speed of what you're doing out there for being vocal with the audience. So sometimes you got to not worry about what we talk about continually, doing all these moves you have planned out in the locker room to engage and listen to the audience, because it was living proof last night in that main event. It's the one thing I told Illumide. He's firing back, and I'm like, it's just this one little detail is going to make this guy who's already a fucking star, right? He's going to be a star. He's so humble, but he hits the guy in the gut, and then he comes back for another one. I'm like, hit him in the gut and look at your fist, and don't just stand up to your feet when you're coming back. Pull yourself up this guy and fire back. And it was like, there was one time in the match he went to the corner and he really got intense and the place rose up. And then there was another point where he's on his back and he's doing this. And he's just, and I'm like, did you hear? That's where the sympathy came from. And we talk about that so much. So yesterday was just was a good example for me. And there was a match where one of the wrestlers was disappointed and he was like, "Man, we got to run it back." And I said, "Here's what I want you to do on the way home." Great conversation I had with him. And I said, on the way home, you're by yourself. You got a 4-hour drive. I want you to cut a promo, and I want you to figure out how you can cut this promo to run this match back with this guy without saying, exposing that this was fake and you were disappointed in the performance. You know what I mean? Because it's already over.
Right.
That's done. Unless we walk out there and drag a referee back out in front of the fans and break down the wall and say, "Hey, we didn't like our performance. We want to try it again. Are you guys okay with that?" That performance is done, man. You don't have to worry about that shit. Get on with it. Wrestling amnesia, man.
Absolutely, man. It's obviously I wasn't there last night. So I'm watching from afar and I'm hearing the conversations. I'm getting conversations through text and people calling me and going, "Hey, we're thinking about doing something different. What do you think?" And all the different ideas and things like that. And it's it sucked for me because like I love just being there and being involved and getting to see what's going on and critique things firsthand and and sit and watch matches with you and things like that. So I definitely feel like I missed out a bit last night not being there, but it is a great.
You did.
What's that?
You did. You did.
Oh, I did. Yeah, exactly. So, but on the flip side of that, man, it is such a great feeling knowing that there is trustworthy people that can get it done. So as much as in the past I felt like I have to be there, like there's no replacement for me being there because I feel like the things I bring to the table are unmatched or things like that. So I had this maybe a bit of an ego about what I brought to the table, and nobody can do what I do or something along those lines. But it's very refreshing knowing that first in Winnemucca, right? It's that it can get taken care of, right? We can go, hey, spread the responsibilities out amongst people that you trust, and it's gonna go well, right? And then same thing last night. It's like you want to be there, but you can't, and but you have people that you trust that are going to be in those roles where everything's going to get taken care of, right? There's going to be somebody at the door taking tickets. There's going to be someone to go and talk to about storyline stuff. There's going to be, people taking photos, and everything is going to work out the way that you'd like it to work out. So it's a great feeling knowing that that's happening as well. So you know, and I know that you're super hands-on with your promotion, but talk a little bit about that, man, about how it is where I know, like, when I was at the Red Bluff show, that it was just you and I talking outside while promos were going on backstage, and you had someone that was just took that leadership role. It was like, I'm going to oversee the promos, and I'm going to give them the direction that we want to go. But talk about how important that is to have those pieces in place where, you have guys, and I know you have this within your training as well, where you can set the groundwork and you can go, okay, hey guys, take over from here. You know what I want, essentially. So talk about the importance of that, man. That's I feel like that's something that I'm starting to get right now, but I feel like that you've had that for a while, and talk about the importance of that.
We got it in place right there. Sean was there yesterday, Sean was a vital part and big time in that great Winnemucca experience, and JP stepping up. He's got it under control, man, and he's starting to get more comfortable with the flow of the ring announcing and taking over from there. You got Cody, you got 3 or 4 guys on ring crew. That's really all you need, because if you get any more than that, then you got a bunch of dickheads just standing around talking, and then you start doing something the way you want to do it, and then some dickhead walks over and he starts like doing and going back over stuff you're doing, and you're like, hey, get out of here, go find something to do, or just get lost. You know what I mean? But it's the most important thing. I know at the training facility, I have so many guys that can pull all these things off, but I know all I got to do is just set the basic outline real quick. Just get in there and set it up for 10 minutes, and I can crack my fucking Diet Pepsi and sit back and enjoy the ride. Manny's going to take over. Manny run that whole damn thing, and so is Arsonist. So then you got these 2 guys that can both do it, and they know what's going on, and they want to do it, and they work so well together. They gel together, so I don't got to worry about that. And when I'm at the show, all I got to do is, there's some things I like to oversee. Maybe I should do more, because or talk to more people. And that's what I realized too from that show. I think that booking meeting that we always talk about, where we go, oh, why did we do this group booking meeting? I think that the whole clapping and welcome back and stuff, whatever, and letting people know what matches are when, it's on the thing back there. If you need a list, voice is cracking. If you need a list, to look at a list, to know when you're refereeing or know what match you're up at, it's like, you're probably not going to go very far in the wrestling business. You know what I mean? Because you should know what's going on. And I think that's the problem, is knowing what's going on. Like, I like to overlook when we were filming all this stuff for the commercial for July 12th coming up. I like to be right there with Brandon Johnson when he's doing everything. But Brandon always asks me, he goes, what do you want to see? And I go, come on, man. Like, the ladder's sitting here and I'm just showing him, I'm like, all these different things. And he goes, get up here, and the guys are climbing it and you're just filming. And he goes, okay, gotcha. And then I can walk away, and then I know he knows the vision. But it's guys like Brandon Johnson. It's having guys around where you go, okay, you know what we're supposed to do here. And they rely on you to go out. And I think I said that to someone as I was walking by. It might have been Manny's old lady or just somebody who was sitting there, and they said, oh, I said, they're like, oh, I'm like that. And they're like, oh, you're stressed out. And I go, no, I'm not stressed out, but I need to find somebody that can do what I do. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm just like, well, all these little tedious tasks and all these questions being asked, right? Like, somebody else can do this, but everybody wants to ask you because they think that, like, I have to overlook and approve everything because this is my baby. And I'm like, no, you already know what to do. Like, when Rick's around, and he'll start asking me questions, and I come across as a dick to him because I'm like, hey man, you just asked me like 10 questions. He's like, I'm just trying to have a conversation. And I go, no, you're asking me questions. That's not a conversation. A conversation's joking around or just talking to each other. But he knows what's going on. So when he's here, I don't need him to waste 5 minutes of time coming to me going, hey, what do you think about this? Dude, you're a fucking wrestling genius, man. You know our product. You know what's going on. You don't have to come up to daddy and get the stamp of approval to change something or to make something better or get promos going. So, like a lot of people, even if they know what they're doing, they still want to go, hey, 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 hey. And I go, you don't need to do that. Everything's fine. Because here's the fucked up part about the business, right? You're gonna want to see something the way it's executed, and they're gonna go out there and they're not gonna execute it the way you want it to be executed. Shit's gonna go wrong out there. So you don't need to come waste 5-10 minutes of my time or your time. That's 10 minutes where we could have got 2 promos or a bunch of stock footage, or we could have moved on to something else. Why are we wasting time talking about this and time is passing by? You know what I mean? So like yesterday, everyone was like, you got to get a hold of Paul about this change, that change. And I'm like, why? It's fine. You know, the Illuminate's got this. He's making a lot of sense. He asked me the questions. I was like, okay. And then when I figured out what he was talking about, I said, I like it, but save this and this has to happen. And he's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, oh cool, but you do this, but don't get good. Hey, Cody, get over here. All right, guys, listen to what he's got to say, because I don't need to sit here any longer and waste my time. We're going to be opening, the doors are going to open in 10 minutes. You have to hear what he's telling you because it's going to be a switch. He's telling you now because he's got it. I'm gone. Me sitting there and listening around when it's already been figured out is dumb because we're wasting time. We got 10 minutes for the doors open. You need to know what this change is going to be. And it's not that it's like, we need to get a hold of Paul to approve it. No, you trust me. So if I hear something that's better for your business and I go, yeah, that's great. Good. Now, Illumide, here's the guy you need to talk to who's got the paper, get it all figured out. 10 minutes for the doors. Now I'm gone. And Illumide knows what's up. He's getting it over and he's figuring it out. And then people are worried about, we need to get a hold of you. And I'm like, you don't, because it's a decision that's going to elevate 3 people in your business and bring somebody new in that's going to be a baby face. I mean, go for it. And Paul's not going to be mad, because that's why we're here in place, is because you trust our judgment. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right, man. It's and I don't want to say like it sounds like you're talking about like a from a frustration factor. It's like, oh, you don't need to tell me about this stuff, but obviously you like to feel important and you like people to get like, oh, hey, just want to run this by you, but for the most part, it's always just like, yeah, man, it it's a good idea. You don't have to tell me that it's a good idea, right? I see your vision. I trust you, things like that. It's like, we've gone back and forth about this, about, how you have a character that knows you have a person that knows what their character is way better than I know what their character is. So that's what you want people to take ownership and say, hey, this is the vision that I see with my character. That's what you want, man. You want these people to have the vision of their character where they can tell you what their character does, right? You hear so much about people getting handed a promo. Hey, this is what I want you to talk about, and here's some verbiage. It's like, well, my character doesn't talk like that. My character wouldn't say that. But as a promoter, you don't know that because you don't have the inside information on the character as much as the person that is doing the character, right? So you would hope you've put enough time into your own character that like, this is what my character does. This is what my character says. Like this is how my character would look at a certain situation. So it's a breath of fresh air when you get that, when you get someone that's like, hey, here's what I want to do with my character, and this is why it makes sense, right? And then you get to that point where you say, hey, well, then you don't need to run it by me. You know what's going on, you know what the vision is, you know what direction we're going. So now you don't need to run it by me, because that's the you guys got it figured out, and it makes sense. But I think it's a lot of times it's the confidence thing, right? You want to come backstage and you want to ask someone, hey, what'd you think about my match? And a lot of times we have that feeling where we just want someone to tell us that we did a good job, right? And I think that's where we get the disconnect, where you're so wanting the approval of other people that sometimes when somebody gives you a critique, hey, I think it would have been better if you would have done this or whatever, that's the like, oh well, fuck, I'm not going to talk to that guy anymore, because he's not just going to pat me on the back and tell me everything's good. He's going to try to make it better, right? But a lot of people don't realize that. They don't realize, like, hey, I'm just trying to make you better, But I think we yearn for that approval so much. We just want someone to tell us that we did a good job, or our idea is good, or something like that. So a lot of times I think that's where the root of that is, right? I want to tell you this great idea, and I just want you to tell me that it's good, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just trusting yourself and saying, hey, right, I got this. So but it's good to know that that my opinion is valued, but at the same time it's like, trust yourself that your idea is good and you're making sense when you talk about it. So
Well, there's someone else, right? There's other people back there. Yeah, I saw JMM running around yesterday, and JMM's a runner around, and he's right through when you get through the curtain guy. Hey man, it's hot out there. I'm 43. I wrestled. I know. I'm sweaty. I don't. You run. You guys come right through the curtain, and the promoter or the guy who's right there. He wants to be the first guy to critique you after your match, and it's like, get out of my way. I got to go wipe my nuts and my face, my face and my nuts and everything off with the towel. I don't want to talk to you right now about what happened out there. Let me get my breath back. Let me change my clothes and cool off. I don't need some guy going, well, hey, come here. And you're through the curtain and you're like, and some guy's like, so what I saw out there, you know what I'm thinking in my head? No matter if I respect the guy or not, as the performer, I'm going, dude, get the fuck away from me. I want to talk to the guy just was out there doing the battle with, not the dude who was sitting here watching, critiquing. And it's like we go back to what we were just saying. You weren't there. You weren't there. Is it your business? Yes. But you have people in place. That's what I love about it. People don't realize, like, you trust me. You trust me so much that the guys come up to me before the show and they go, what do you think about this? Like Cody came up and said, oh, me and Rick were matched too, right? And Cody says, oh, well, the match before intermission, this guy's going to be leaving and they're going to have a fight on the outside and a big pull apart and everything. And I thought that would be good for intermission, but we might need him to go on early. And Rick said, oh, you can just switch him with us and they can go number 2. And I look over at Rick and I go, absolutely not. You know what I mean? I said, I'm not even really happy that Bad News and Kid Carson have the number 1 match right here. Like, I want that match. So I'm going number 2. Absolutely fucking not. So and then I had a reason why I wasn't going to give up my fucking spot. I said, because they're doing a pull apart with all the wrestlers. It has to go right there because you can't have a big brawl and a pull apart on match 1 or match 2. So at first I'm like, absolutely not. You're not going to change this card. But because I'm not giving up my number 2 slot. You know what I mean? But there's a reason why I'm not giving up my number 2 slot. It's not just because I'm being selfish. But like I was saying, you're not there. You know, JP's there. You know, Sean's there. I'm there. Somebody has come up with a good idea. I wouldn't say they're thinking like, oh, this is a major deal for this. It's like, well, it's not really a major deal because because in reality, the guy who won is the most over babyface there, right? The fans absolutely love him. He's gonna be your star if he's around. He's gonna be my star. He's gonna be everybody's star if he's still around and they know what to do with him. So it's okay. Let him go up. Because if you don't and you beat him, you have no star. So it's the right decision. And it's the guy who won the trophy. That's what I did the show before. I got him over, right? To make him look strong. So I know that you would make the exact same decision. So when I'm saying just go for it, and I think it's cool where everybody's like, oh, we got to get a hold of Paul. We got to get a hold of Paul. Paul's not going to care. He's having a good time with his family. The show's running. You know, you're not going to call Paul and go, "Oh my God, we need a new turnbuckle, or the bottom rope's not going to tighten up." What the fuck? What's Paul going to do about that turnbuckle?
Right.
You better go find the fucking turnbuckle. Paul's in fucking San Diego with this doing the basketball shit. You know what I mean?
That's it.
So it's. You're not there, and we're not doing Academy fucking. Nobody's winning an Academy Award or a fucking Tony here. Get in front of the fucking camera, cut a goddamn promo. Hey, camera guy, you've been doing this forever. If there's someone probably standing around, get the fucking job done. I don't need an Oscar-winning acting performance. I need a 30-second fucking promo. I don't need to be standing there for the goddamn thing, monitoring it. You know what I mean? Like, nope, that cut. That one is not. I don't even remember what the guy said fucking on at Night of Champions. You know what I mean? From it just happened yesterday. I don't even remember what anybody said from the fucking pre-show. Hey, look cool, nice ambiance. I don't remember what you said. If CM Punk comes out dressed as John Cena, or, if it's a very impactful memory promo, yeah, cool. I'll remember that because it was great. I don't remember what you fucking said a week ago. So I don't give a fuck what you say in your promo because you ain't going to change the world or the finances of my company by one promo.
Right. Yeah. So I guess it's you want that you want the feedback and you want to be able to discuss ideas and bounce them off each other and things like that. But ultimately you love when it's just like, hey, just go with your gut here, right? It feels like it's a good idea. Feel like it's a good direction to go. Let's just pull the trigger. Let's just go for it, man. Because you never know, man. It's like this pro wrestling thing is so hit and miss sometimes, right? You might have a great idea, and we've talked about this in the past about like, man, I got this guy that I want to run with for the next year or whatever. And inevitably something that happens is something comes up, right? And they have to miss something. So it throws a bit of a wrench in the cog anyway, right? So you just kind of you got to go with what you got in front of you at the time and what makes sense at the time. So I mean, I'm glad that my opinion is valued, but I'm also glad that we have people that are just like, hey, let's pull the trigger on a good idea and see what happens. So that's good, man. And going into 3 weeks from now, going into a new town and a new audience, hopefully some people that we can get some new eyes on the product and create a little buzz there. So that's exciting for us, man, and that's a testament to you and the way that you put things together, man. Go out there, reach out to other towns, and it's kind of like a model that we're trying to follow here. Try to try to get those outside towns. We've got Winnemucca, obviously, that works really well. And, so now we're going to try to reach out and branch out to Carson City and, get something special going out there as well. So, no, it's, we talked on the last podcast about how people were like, hey, you got other events going on in the same town on the same day. Like, why are you doing pro wrestling? And it's like, you gotta trust in the process, right? You did your your due diligence, man. You did your marketing. You did what you're supposed to be doing, right? You're trying to get the word out there, and you're hoping that you're gonna you come across the right people, right? That are gonna say, I want to watch pro wrestling rather than going to a baseball game or going to the rodeo or all these things, because that was one of my favorite comments from yesterday. Was I said, hey, how was the draw? And someone's response was, oh, it was pretty good considering the rodeos in town. And then as I see the photos, I was like, it looks pretty good regardless of the rodeo being in town or whatever. So I don't know. I think that was refreshing to see that that the seats were full, and some fans were there, and obviously I wasn't there to see like the reaction of the fans, but that'd be something that I'm interested in knowing, like, as far as how was the reaction from the fans yesterday versus previous shows you've been on.
Louder. It was louder. There's a steady stream of growth. Like, one thing you don't realize is, hey, all this work I put into promoting, like this last one, I put a lot of work into promoting. And then I looked at I counted the tickets afterwards, and I was like, from Friday, and I was like, oh, we actually, to most indie companies, had a really good house. You know what I mean? Like, when you look around and you count, you're like, oh shit, I didn't even realize that there was that many people there. And I put so much pressure on myself, and it's like, nah, relax, man. Everything is okay. But you don't realize all that stuff you put out, all that product and all that exposure. There's so much going on the weekend, but people still see that exposure. You're going to benefit from that down the road. Just because you don't have instant gratification from this, it's not that people didn't see it. It's not they didn't see the website or the QR code or the now your name is in their radar sites. They just had something going on. You're going to benefit from that down the road. That's why you keep doing it. That's why I keep promoting. And it's like, you turn around and you go, oh shit, we're already selling front row tickets to the show here coming up in 2 weeks in Orville. And you got the ladder match, and you got the 8-man Orville street fight, and it's fucking pandemonium. And we haven't been there since April. So people are pumped up about this convention center, the big screens, the big show. And you start putting out the big matches, and it's like, okay, now this is going to happen. But then you come back around here and you go, all this is going to take place. And to go back to the thing, it's like, there's a guy on the roster who just came up with this amazing idea to get himself and 3 other people over. And it's something we talk about. We go, well, this is the only angle we have going on here. And he just reset your company. That's like, cool, man. You got this. I'm gonna go out here and do nothing and enjoy. Like someone said, they said, man, this one's gonna be good. I think Travis told me this one's gonna be good. I said, cool, don't tell me nothing. I'll go out and watch it. And I made a point to grab a chair and go out where we normally sit over there and watch it. Because I mean, that's what we do, man. It's this beautiful thing, Paul. And like I said, and like, I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but it's like, you're not there, so you have entrusted people to do stuff. And in turn, somebody came up with a great idea, which that's what we want anyways, right? Is we want somebody who understands what's going on, and for him to even think about the guy with the trophy, because that guy's not even there. So most people who show up at your show are like out of sight, out of mind. And then when I said, hey, but now we got to have a baby run out. We need to find somebody that can be a baby to make a save. And he immediately looks over and points. And I go, like, he's looking around. He's understanding what's going on. I watched Illumide. I was telling him, I watched him talk to one of my referees who refed his match, new ref. And I was watching him talk to Ethan. And I'm watching him in the back, just covered in sweat, just passionately talking to people after their matches. And I'm like, he's got it. I don't need to be that guy standing there through the curtain going, I don't need to be, because somebody else is here doing it. Check that ego at the door, man. I'll talk to you later when you cool down, or you come up to me and want to talk to me after the show. Like when I came back through the curtain at the end, Illumide and Rick were just sitting in two chairs talking to each other. And Illumidate's just soaking up his knowledge. Rick even looked at me and said, man, we've just been on a 25-minute conversation. Show's been over. We're out there doing whatever. And I'm just like, this guy has been in the locker room picking this guy's brain apart because Rick's not here all the time. And now they're sitting in here having a conversation, looking like Vince McMahon and whatever wrestler he was interviewing. And I'm just like, oh, back in the day. And I'm like, oh, man. And then Rick said something to me, give him a piece of advice. And I go, change something every couple months, whether it's an earring, a haircut, new laces in your boots, you know. And that's exactly what he said. And I'm like, cool. I don't need to sit here and stroke my ego and go, okay, buddy, what I say is gold. And if you don't listen to me saying it, then you're never going to make it in this business. Now, just be a good person. Don't lie. Be honest with people. Show up. You're here for 3 fucking hours, right? We're past the 5 minutes have elapsed in this podcast, but you're here for a job. You're here to learn. You're not here to, hey, it's a little family reunion. Hey, we got time. We got stuff to do in a certain allotted amount of time. Get the fucking shit done. I don't need Rick. I don't need anybody to come up to me and go, what do you think of this idea? Do you think it's good? It's obviously good in your head, right? Is it going with what's going on over here? Do it. Get it done. I appreciate you running it by me. I really do. But it's not going to matter at the end game of what we're doing here. You know what I mean? Like you're making a little change. Well, it's not going to matter because even the biggest company in the world, WWE, has shitty finishes and fuck ups and mistakes. Doesn't matter. The wheel keeps rolling, baby. The money keeps piling in. It's already happened.
That's it, man. So, we got 2 minutes left, man. So, I was just thinking about things we need to talk about moving forward. You got a big show coming up in 2 weeks. You got, by the time this airs, you've got your free opportunity for training is gonna be over. So hopefully the next time we talk is gonna be, hey, we had 25 guys show up and got some real interesting prospects, and this guy earned the free training, and it's gonna be he's gonna be the next star. Let's cross our fingers that happens, right? We know the odds are stacked against that happening, but living the dream today. You got Pandemonium coming up in a couple weeks, and then we've got our Carson City show for the first time in ever coming up in 3 weeks from right now. So a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of exciting stuff for pro wrestling, and trying to move forward and continue the progress of our products, and hopefully gain more students as well. We're going to do Answer the Call the same day as that Carson City show. So maybe from a different city, maybe we'll gain some new eyes, and maybe we'll get some new students as a result. We've already got some guys coming from that area, so we know that there's people there, and there's rides to be had. So Close us out, man. 20 seconds or 15 seconds.
Hey, you got to promote it if you want them to see it. Zack Primetime Reeb, the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going over.